I'm Robin Licato. I teach at Lamar High School, and I've been teaching for 23 years. I have taught in New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, Texas, and Florida. I love it. I love what I do, and I love the kids. There's no other job that you can do that you can have as much of an impact on every single person you come in contact with, where you know that what they know and can do when they walk out of the room is different than what they knew and could do when they walked in. And that's just, it's huge. It's why you get up and go. Every student has the capacity to grow in every area. The goal is finding out where they are first, because if you start over here, then you're not making any connection at all. You got to get them where they are right there that day. And they'll follow you. They'll go wherever you lead. These students don't need to learn the way we were taught. They need to learn how to contribute and be productive in this society, and it's changing. So the teaching has to change. We have to change. I'll have to change. I'll have to be a different teacher 3 years from now, and a different teacher than that 3 years after that. Because the students are going to keep changing. Because the iPods are going to keep changing. Because the computers are going to keep changing. Because Google's going to keep changing. And as long as that keeps happening, I'm going to need to keep changing. HISD has recognized that teaching as a profession is changing. And I think Team HISD has really tried hard to recognize that the teacher in the classroom is, at the end of the day, that's it. I mean, that's where the buck stops. That's it. I think teachers already know what their weaknesses are, but there was never a conversation that happened after that. You went through and it was like, okay, you're this, you're this, you're this. That's the check the boxes. End of story, moving on. Next teacher comes in, does the same thing. There was never the next conversation of, now that we know that, now what do we do? What is our plan going forward?
Have a seat, have a seat.
We teach, 180, 190 days. We teach 8 hours in those days. And if one random day in October somebody walks in your room and then goes back to their office and writes the paper and says, this is what happened, and you've had the way that PDOS was, you had no opportunity to go in and to say, well, okay, that's true, you observed that, but can I explain to you why? I became a member of my school's SDMC, Shared Decision Making Committee, and the SDMCs were very involved in the beginning stages of the new appraisal system. So I got assigned the first task of responding to the HISD appraisal survey. And then once I started working on it, I just got really excited about it. 20-something years in education, no person, district, school, teacher, principal has ever actually asked me, how would you like to be appraised? They were honestly, with integrity, asking for input and wanted the input and knew that the teachers could say it and write it so it was much more authentic than any appraiser could write it. The new system lets you compartmentalize a few aspects of what good teaching is. So instructional practices, professional expectations, and student learning. Those are the groups. So it's a checklist, but it's a prioritized list for teachers. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, your goal is to teach students, which means students have to learn. And that's what HISD wants, when every student is learning to the best of their ability, because in front of their classroom is a highly effective teacher at imparting student learning. That's what we want. I think with the content area specialists, which was a huge thing when we understood that HISD was going to go that route and really embrace that position, then you feel like that person is able to check the validity across district. It takes it off of you as the teacher who has to work with this appraiser every day, and it puts it on this other individual who can go have a conversation with the appraiser and say, okay, from a content area, this is probably not as appropriate as perhaps looking for this. And I think teachers will like that. Teachers will really learn to work collaboratively with that content person, because that's how you grow and do your best work, is talk to somebody else who does what you do. That's it. That's what teachers want. That's what we need. And that will make student learning change. It will have the greatest impact on student learning. It's everybody all going for the same goal, which is how do we advance the students? That's our goal. Every day, every person, every job.
How great are you?
How do we advance the students?